Welcome to eLion Focus, a hybrid e-learning initiative designed to complement face-to-face instruction. It provides parallel instruction to 7th and 8th grade English and World Studies classes. The site is accessible through wikispaces.com. When you get to the eLion homepage, you are given a choice between 7th and 8th grade courses, particularly English and Social Studies. Once you have selected your grade level and your subject, you are then directed to the subject starting page where you will select a lesson sequence that is organized like this. First, there is vocabulary instruction where students will preview vocabulary for the learning sequence. The presentation includes pronunciation, definition, examples, synonyms, variations, and usage of the words and phrases. Next, there will be an instructional video. Students will view an informational video that provides context and helps to build background knowledge. Following the vocabulary instruction and the informational video, there will be a quick quiz. Students will demonstrate an understanding of the new vocabulary and information from the video in an interactive quiz with survey questions and space for comments. Next, students are presented with an informational text. They'll read an informational text related to the sequence topic. The informational text features stop and think questions to aid in comprehension. Next, a narrated slideshow presentation summarizes the key points from the sequence. The students take the skills check assessment after that at the end of each lesson sequence. And when they are finished, they'll see how the things that they've learned fit into the big picture. There will be links to supplemental activities and resources that will be provided for each student to take their learning further. So let's go for a tour. You start out on the eLion Focus starting page. Here you can choose between 7th grade English, 7th grade World Studies, 8th grade English, and 8th grade World Studies. Today we're going to take a tour of the 7th grade World Studies. Click there to begin, and you're taken to the 7th grade World Studies page. Each column is a different unit. Now I've only designed Lesson Sequence 1 for Unit 2, but I anticipate that this will have 4 units, each featuring a pre-assessment and 5 lesson sequences. Let's start with the pre-assessment. When you click on the pre-assessment, you're magically whisked away to the pre-assessment page, which is a pre-assessment powered by Google Forms. You'll see that it features a space for your name where you can type it in, multiple choice questions where you can fill in your selected answer, and you can take it all the way to the bottom. When you're finished, you'll click submit. This won't let me submit the test without answering all of the required questions. But here's where it gets really cool. Automatically using Google Forms, your answers are inserted into a spreadsheet that you can use to analyze all of the responses provided by every single test taker. Now this spreadsheet is kind of cumbersome, and at a glance it's hard to interpret what my instructional focus should be on this unit. Here's where it gets even cooler. Google provides you with a graphic representation of the answers, so at a glance I can see how are my children's understanding of Hinduism. Looking at the first question, it says, in what country did Hinduism begin? 60% of respondents selected the correct answer, India. Which religion is most common in North America? 60% of my respondents chose Christianity. For number 3, which religion began in India and then spread to other parts of Asia? Here, 35% said Hinduism, and 35% also selected Islam. I may need to reteach that concept. To learn more about finding out about Google Forms, go to Google Drive, and it's a document that you can create there. It's very simple to use, and you can embed it into your quizzes, and it'll look just like this on your page. So I finished with the Unit 2 pre-assessment, and looking down, there's some questions. Why are we doing social studies stuff if this is reading? What do you do when you are done with the test? Good questions. Then I'll select Return to Unit 2 menu, and I'm back at the menu screen. And let's check out lesson sequence number 1. Here I start on the first page, which is vocabulary. This unit is about culture, so I featured a screencast that has to do with culture. Here they're learning about seen and unseen culture. After they view the screencast, there's a series of questions that they can answer in the discussion area. I've summarized them here, but you can also scroll down to the bottom to see what everybody's talking about. First question, what is a cultural group you belong to? Some respondents said, I'm a teen. I'm from El Salvador. I'm African American. I'm American. Judging by the responses, it looks like my students understand what a cultural group is. Moving on to the next one, it asks questions about the scene culture, a tradition in their family. Many of the kids talked about Christmas. One kid said that they're Jamaican. Another talked about Halloween and Christmas. So I asked a probing question. Those are important cultures and holidays. How does your family make those days special? I'm hoping maybe I'll get some more in-depth responses. The next question seemed to cause a little confusion. Why are values and beliefs an unseen part of culture? Some wrote Christian, some wrote Muslim. One kid got the right answer because you can't see them right away. So I asked a probing question, but I also gave Denise some positive feedback. Is it possible to see how someone thinks, what they value, or what they believe in? And then finally, about an anthropologist, I asked them if they'd like to be an anthropologist. It looks like nobody wants to be an anthropologist, but to get them to think about it more, I said many anthropologists get to see the world and study its people. So maybe if you like to travel, that job might be right for you. After the kids have answered the questions and viewed the screencast, they click go on to the next page. Here we find an informational video, and before they watch it, I encourage them to review the concepts from the vocabulary, where we talked about seen and unseen aspects of culture. And there's a helpful video about the Maasai tribe in Africa. They can watch the video and then answer the questions below in the discussion area. 2 observations about the seen culture of the Maasai. Why are cows so important to the Maasai? And how are the Maasai people having trouble adapting to modern life? I find that when students can see what other kids are talking about, it helps them generate their own answer and increases the likelihood of a correct answer. Once they finish there, they click go on to the next page. And now we're on to informational text. So here they're presented with additional principles of culture. Some of it is a review from 6th grade, and some of them are new. As they read, I encourage them to stop and think. So here they stop and think and do the question links number 1 and 2 after they finish reading the first part. So let's click on question 1. Culture reflects the beliefs and values of a society. The question I have for them is, what does the celebration of the 4th of July show about American culture? So the stop and think questions give the kids a chance to reflect on what they're seeing and reading. So they read on and then they answer stop and think questions number 3, 4, and 5. So after reading and answering the questions, they'll go on to the next page for a summary. Here I've given them a summary in text. I've highlighted some key terms to know, defined any terms that may be confusing or unknown to them. They get a chance to review, and then finally they get a chance to go on to the next page and take the skills check. The skills check is another Google form. It's embedded right into the page. They read the directions and take the quiz, and the results of this are also popped directly into a spreadsheet and are available with graphic interpretations so I can see how my group is learning. I can also go through the individual results in the spreadsheet, so I get individual and group results to measure learning. Finally, the big picture shows how all of this works in. I've included another screencast to review the new material and information. I give them an overview of the upcoming unit so they can look ahead to see how the ideas of culture might apply to the future. There's some useful links just for fun. A game that they can play where they look at an interactive map of Africa, a video featuring a popular African musician, Fela Kuti, a video of some traditional West African dance, and a slideshow featuring African arts and masks. After they've reviewed the big picture, the lesson sequence is complete, and they'll return to the main page where they can log out or they can start a new lesson. The idea behind the eLion Focus program is to provide students with a broad vocabulary base, increase their background knowledge to give them a context for learning, and increase their motivation for learning by making them confident and comfortable with new concepts. One thing I particularly like about the Wikispaces program is that I can assign members a username and password so that the experience is more personal and each kid can customize their profile. Also, the results are personalized and not anonymous. One tool that's useful also when using this during class is the assessment tool. As you can see, in the last 30 minutes I've been very active. I can also see when in real time when students are using this program whether they're being active or whether they're not using the program. We do a lot of this work in the computer lab, and I can also monitor the students' screens through the LAN school monitoring program, so I can make sure that they are using this program and using the technology for its intended purposes. Thanks for checking out eLion Focus.